Peace, I'm Yolanda Marie, and this is Bed Peace, where we talk about pieces of things, thoughts, feelings, anything, from the comfort and the peaceful space of our bed, and sometimes it is our loving bed. Just kidding. Shout out to Spike Lee, Nola darling. And sometimes it is our day bed in the den by the fireplace, vibing out. But this morning it is from our bed in our bedroom, as we cannot sleep because we are riding some crazy energetic vibes. We had an amazing filming session yesterday, as it is 12:50 now. Yesterday with a wonderful artist, Arianna. It was just such a dope session, and I don't know whether or not you would have seen it or not by the time this comes out, but just know it is fire. She is fire. Shout out to Arianna and her sister Nidia. We had an amazing day. It was an amazing filming session yesterday. And that brings us to my excitement for this Bed Peace episode today, our first episode. How appropriate. That brings me to what has been on my heart and my mind this morning that has me not able to sleep, which is presence. It was a gift.
You come bearing gifts?
But presence, being present. Yesterday, I had an experience that I feel like I have no association or connection with, or haven't had one since what feels like childhood, is the closest feeling or memory that I can take back to, that I was consciously so present and had this sensation that was truly awe-inspiring and almost scary, which I'll get into. But being so present that it felt like almost an out-of-body experience. I literally, after we finished filming, I literally told Sha, I was like, babe, I had to check myself. I was like, wait, I haven't had anything. I'm not high. This feeling, this sensation, I was struggling to process what it was. And he was just like, you were literally so ultimately present. Speaking of which, someone is on their way.
I'm very present.
To getting.
I'm about to be very gifted.
About to be very gifted. But yeah, he was just like, I think you were just at a different level of being present. And it was so insane because whilst in the middle of filming with Arianna during the interview section, I'd literally come to a point where I was checking myself like, whoa, yo, what is this? Am I high? And I guess, word to natural high, I truly was in that pocket. I was sitting there like listening to Arianna talk, and then I realized I was in my head like, what's happening? I'm presently feeling and witnessing myself thinking about the fact that I can sense myself thinking and being present and in this space in my being, but in my head, but in my spirit somehow too, but also still present, almost like just checked out. And if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, which was about emotions, in your head, it literally felt like a scene like that, except I was myself in that little, brain bank, just seeing the outside view of everything that was going on outside of my body, but somehow being ever present inside and outside of my body, if that even makes any sense.
I'll take it.
It was insane. I was just, I literally had to stop myself from almost going to the point of possibly having an anxiety or a panic attack, because I almost didn't know whether or not to be scared of what I was feeling, because it was so disconnected that I was just like, whoa, what is this? And so then after talking to you and realizing that, like, it was possibly the effects of truly being so extremely present, I just had to sit with that and be like, whoa, I've been so disconnected from what it feels like to be 100% truly and fully authentically present in a moment that I was almost scared of what presence felt like.
Wow, let me ask you a question.
What?
Did you check your phone the whole time she was here at all? Once?
Only when we had to order only for dinner.
Okay, and how much of your lifetime has been spent without a phone in it at all?
Bits and pieces. Because I had
You've always had a parent's phone or access to the internet or somebody's phone, though, right?
No. So, interesting. My parents are very old school, so I did not have my own phone until the end of 8th grade, I believe. And even then, it was like trap phone. Could not do much. So, I really was not like crazy internet heavy, like access 24/7 unless it was at a computer, until high school, and I would say about late 9th to early 10th grade. So yeah, and then I didn't get onto social media until really late either. Like, I didn't even get on Instagram. Like, that was my first major social media. I didn't even get on Instagram until I think 2014. So, yeah.
All right. Okay.
So Loki had a little bit of that awareness whole time.
But up to the age, that's for most people, that's around the age of the opening or the beginning of self-awareness, though, right?
I don't know. I feel like for me, and funny, because even my mom made that joke about that the other day, how I've just kind of been old since I showed up, an old soul.
Thanks.
My self-awareness has kind of been heightened since I was a small person. So I feel like in a way I'm almost returning to that versus coming into self-awareness. I feel like I'm returning to that childlike self-awareness that I had as a small person.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. If you recall, you said you thought the feeling was being you were asking yourself, is this what it feels like to be present? I was like, well, no, it's kind of like a creative nirvana state.
Right.
Yeah, because it's something that I rarely get. And I told you, I first felt that feeling when I started making beats and collaborating with somebody back in the day. And I only felt that feeling from time to time when I make music with certain people. Yeah. And in the right space. So it's, I was wondering if it was that creative nirvana type thing. Plus, which requires you to be present.
Yeah.
Fully present.
Right. And I think that's what it was just that kind of nirvana, complete and total bliss state of just, I am here present, and not only present, but present in my, I hate to say it, but present in my purpose. And not even purpose, but present in my, well, I will say purpose. Present in my purpose of existing and being authentically and creating through that. And being and bringing more of myself to the forefront in it, so much that it was so natural that it was just happening and flowing, like how I talk about all the time, like in flow states, etc., etc. Truly being tapped into that flow state with another creatives plural, because all of us really, I think by the end, had just fallen into this beautiful pocket, and understanding and sharing that caused all of us, if I may say, to just unfold and truly give an amazing experience to each other. Like, we, by the end, I felt like gifted each other with so much.
I agree. It was very, very peaceful. It was very much a symbiotic thing. It was the energy was very symbiotic. We were all sharing from the same source, and we were all giving and receiving at the same time.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can see that. And you could see that it gradually built and became what it became.
Yeah.
So it was very organic. It was very natural, and we all kind of just did our parts to weave a tapestry of an evening.
And I think that's what caused that moment in my head of shookness. Was it almost felt like it had snuck up on me. It was just kind of like I suddenly in that moment realized that that's where I was at. And I think in that sudden moment of realization was when I had that moment of a blip of, should I be scared, or is this something I should be fearful of? And that kind of speaks to where we've come to with certain unknown things, like having fear of the unknown instead of just, like going with it. It was like this was something completely beautiful and wonderful and blissful, but I was almost about to be scared of this sensation because it was unfamiliar to me. And it was just like, whoa, I could have completely launched into a whole panic or anxiety attack over one of the best things I've experienced in a while.
Yeah.
And especially given kind of what we're all kind of experiencing on a large scale as a collective with this virus and the quarantine that is, come of it. This was just an amazing opportunity to have been able to have a pause from everything else going on in the world and create our own little world, kind of our own little split off in the multiverse, and create this pocket that was totally and fully honoring and cultivating just that creative healing energy that for me was definitely charging up and giving the fuel to continue on during this very interesting time period. Like, I definitely feel reinvigorated because we both had sort of talked about leading up to this, how we both felt like we were just pushing through and moving through molasses and just stuck, and just everything felt like a fight to push through and get done and maintain focus.
Yeah, but not stuck. Not
stuck, but just like, it felt like serious trudging through in the molasses and this heavy sand. Yeah,
the molasses, and that's the term. I like using that term. That's our
because it felt heavy and sticky, and just like at each footstep, one at a time, just felt like it was taking a lot.
Yeah, to pushing.
Yeah, and this just kind of, just gave that that zhuzh. It just made me feel like, oh, okay, yeah, this is part of what it's all for. Just that community that gets born of this, the creation, the connectivity, the healing, that gets to happen, in these moments, and to assist in birthing other moments that can then, be passed on.
So I've heard you say the word healing a couple times in talking about this. So talk about how you were healed.
How I was healed, I think this was definitely a manifestation of something that I felt wasn't real. So it's healing an aspect of myself that I had, or not even an aspect of myself, but an aspect of something in life that I thought just did not truly exist or didn't exist anymore, which is authentic engagement and just complete positively, intentionally positive and good-spirited, like, good-natured, loving energy coming together to be present and create and just hold space. It's something that over the past few years I really felt like by the end of 2019, 2020, just really felt like that just may not be something that is prevalent any longer.
It's hard to come by.
Yeah, hard to come by, and just something that I would have to just settle for not getting to experience, and believing that every experience was just going to be to some degree polluted with something, like outside of my extremely interpersonal relationships, like with you or my mother. I really just felt like, okay, on the broad, large scale, like this just doesn't exist anymore. I'm not going to come by it, so I need to stop, you know, trying to manifest or anticipate or expect it or hope for it, because it's just gone. And I feel like this healed that perspective and that hole in my heart that was accepting that reality and that notion as fact. And probably quietly, unbeknownst to myself, subconsciously helping manifest more of those situations that I did not want, because I was creating this belief system that it just wasn't going to be.
Maybe
and so
that's the reason for the molasses.
Permeating lack. Maybe.
Yo. Maybe that's it. Maybe we were just both anticipating some more bullshit coming in at some point. And we're just like, hey, we know we're gonna bring what we bring to the party, but usually when somebody comes to the party, they bring something that's just doesn't seem like genuine, and they don't feel like they've come to give. But she felt like she came to give as much as she came to receive. And she came ready. And to be fair, Meryl did the same thing.
Yeah.
They came in as givers, and they totally changed the vibe of the session. And
Side note, Meryl is another dope creative that we collaborated with. She is a model. She is amazing. We will have her info in the description as well. So, yes, both Meryl and Arianna.
Yeah, and actually we should give their ads before we'll give their ads in like an annex to this in audio, in case people don't feel like they know whatever. But yeah, description for sure.
But yeah, continue.
No, that was really it. It was just the occurrence of the idea just came to me, and I'm sitting here kind of stunned right now. I'm trying to regather myself now, because I'm like, yo, is this really? Was the molasses anxiety building up? Is what's, I guess, the way to sum it all up. And that's something that last year we both kind of learned to do more and more, is kind of see and notice and detect when anxiety or depression is starting to creep in. And we both, you know, kind of learning how to either ride or surf those waves more safely and more effectively. Or we're learning how to at least give each other the heads up and the warning, and we've kind of staved off some stuff. I mean, over the past 7-8 months, we've been really talking about some heavy intentional transcendence. Like we just made the decision that we're gonna find a way to, when these things come up, deal with them in a healthy manner, and we knew our resources were limited with what's going on in the world right now. We kind of realized that the world is kind of returning inward, returning to self, and that we've got to find a way to kind of draw and pull some things from ourselves, especially if we, with our, I'm not going to mention the whole thing right now, I guess, but our long-term goals and plans. Self-sustaining methodologies got to be adopted in all areas of our lives. So this is one of them, mental health.
But that's wow, that's a dope interpretation and just way to look at it. Like, did we possibly project and create our own molasses? Through subconscious anxiety and anticipation. That is...
You know what's something else interesting that came as this sounds very similar to what's happening right now in this revelation, is how she mentioned that when she's journaling, she's now learning to understand her own behaviors much better. So this is a form of journaling right here.
No doubt.
Okay. Wow, and it's 110.
It's 110. I was literally looking that fast. 110.
Yeah, so
I literally was just thinking that.
whatever's about to be said is gonna be really poignant, no pressure.
Oh my gosh, so poignant. Fire.
But no, honestly, I think that's a lot right there. And if unless you've got something else, I'm content to sit here. I mean, and stew on this because I'm kind of feeling slow. But if you got more, I'm prepared to keep going.
But like that's how it be though. But no, that was a big one. No, yeah, the pause. Because I literally do feel like as we're sitting here talking, I have continued, and since I've gone to sleep, I have continued to just feel lighter and lighter and lighter, and just feel everything just 111. Everything just come up off my shoulders. And I think you may truly definitely be onto something with that self-imposed projected molasses and anxiety because of past experience.
I don't know. We'll yeah, and it's definitely
Like
because
that
of past
is a
experience.
great possibility.
Yeah. I mean, and we both had that experience with, collaborations going well up to a point, and then, when it's time to close the loop.
Or sometimes even from jump.
Yeah, sometimes it's funky from jump, but yeah, it's just something. Always something.
Right.
Other than just, hey, we're both coming to the table to co-create, and let's see what we got, and we're going to put our all into making this and into making this be all it can be as we present it to the world. That's hard to come by.
Yeah, and just flowing with it, like letting it be organic, not too, made up, dressed up, just what's the raw real. Just, let's come as ourselves, not caricatures of ourselves, or, all this other stuff, just, stripped down, real.
Yeah.
Who is it? Who are you? Who are we?
Well, we didn't have to say anything about the little doormat by the front door.
I know our doormat. No, it's all good. No, it literally it's just a piece. It
maybe they read it.
You feel it, you sense it. Yeah, it kind of introduces you. If you want to know what our doormat is and what it says, keep watching our channel because you'll see it. Shameless plug.
Easter eggs. Without calling it Easter eggs. Branding.
But yeah, no, I feel good. I feel content. Like you said, if I could just sit here sitting that. No, yeah, no, real talk. Because the beauty.
There's one more thing I will say is all the hard work we put in last year, it looks like it's paying off of
absolutely.
Cleansing this space and make sure that this space is about nothing but peace and love and really meaning it this time and not accepting anything other than that in the spaces. Maybe that's playing a role here too, because I mean it's everything we've been doing for a long time has been feeling really good, and it's maybe it's because we're really just staying the course.
Yeah.
And being true to ourselves.
I think you're 100% right. And to run back to your healing question one more time, I think that's the other thing that was healed for me, or I guess it all ties in, is just knowing, like you said, about cleansing the space and about, what we're welcoming in. I feel like this was definitely the affirmation of more of this kind of energy and these kind of experiences are soon come, because like you said, we've put in the work, we've done the cleansing, and we're doing the returning to self and the inner works so that others who are on that path, we can now converge and come together and assist and be a part of each other's journeys now that we've decided to step into that space, clear that space so that something can come into it instead of it being all clogged up, stopped up, and congested. Now it's the pathways are open, so now we can start crossing paths with others without it just causing more chaos. So I think a lot of the past experiences for the past couple years and clearing that out, spending a lot of time clearing that out last year, really was way opening for all of this and helping us actively choose to manifest and heal and bring into existence these types of energies that we thought were so off and we were forlorn about possibly never really getting to experience again or often. I think this was sort of the welcoming mat to and the door to there's more of this here if y'all are willing to continue, if you're willing to continue the work and the loving and the engaging and the intention and really the intention, because sometimes even when you can't bring yourself to the work or you're struggling, just holding that intention in that heart space and still coming back to that every time. I felt like this was definitely one of our affirmations to y'all,
stay the course.
This is that
stay the course for sure.
Oh, it feels so good. And what about you? I mean, I chatted all that, but what was it for you? How are you feeling?
I mean, to me, I kind of feel confirmed. I think the way we walked into this, and the molasses and the decisions that were made to counteract the molasses, I think already kind of started me kind of on the right path, and I felt good all through yesterday. You remember when you asked me when we got up yesterday?
Yeah.
When you got up and you saw me, you're like, "Yo, how you feeling?" I was like, "Hey, I'm feeling great." And the day before was the molasses was creeping up, and we did everything we could to counteract it the day before, and I felt the effects.
Yeah.
And after, there was just like confirmation that, yo, what you guys did to turn things around was exactly what needed to be done. Y'all got this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a commitment to ourselves and commitment to each other, and in the end, it looks like it's paid off. It's paying off for more than just us, and it's helping us head toward these goals that we've been solidifying and identifying, and plotting and putting together. So,
absolutely,
I'm extremely happy. I'm filled with nothing but more hope, more drive, more ambition, more hunger, and more peace.
Yeah.
So
that part.
I'm very, very happy, very appreciative of the opportunity and the chance. And again, this is just confirming that we're on the path. What we've been doing, all the work we've been putting in, all the heavy effort personally, spiritually, business-wise, professionally, however you want to call it, is really worth it. And if we stick to trying to stay true and genuine and patient, peaceful, and loving throughout all of these processes, we'll be. I hate to say it as if some entity, but we'll be rewarded. Yeah. So I'm very happy.
Truly co-creating, like that push and that pull.
Yeah,
that universe is like, all right, I'm here. Where you at? Oh, you here? Okay, we co-creating.
And it's been a long road, relative in each case, but a long road to get to this, and very similar in some cases, some ways. But I think we've both just been craving finding a creative rhythm that becomes a part of your life rhythm, and not just something that you do as a sidebar or aside from life itself.
Yeah.
And seeing that it's attainable, it's in our hands, it's in our grasp, we're working with it and wrangling it. It feels good. It feels, I don't know. I feel like I'm walking on clouds right now.
Yeah.
And that used to make me scared too. And maybe that's the other thing too. When you had that feeling yesterday, and I guess creative Nirvana, that feeling of just being so content and so happy. Sometimes that can be unnerving when you're not used to being that content and that happy, and exploring these new feelings. And that's actually something that came to mind earlier. I wanted to talk about was how we have to develop a love and appreciation for discomfort, and we have to get used to being discomforted. And the fact that, you know, we get thrown off when we're discomforted sometimes, I think that can be a bad sign sometimes. If you're not used to change, and you're not used to constantly changing, then you're not used to growing. Is what I'm guessing. Let me not say you as if I'm talking to you, but I'm saying a person. I'm wondering if that's all a part of this too, is that we've got to get more and more comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely a thing. I think that's why we have all these phrases like thinking outside of the box and et cetera, et cetera. Like there truly is something to pushing past your known quote unquote limits and bounds to get to, and not even to get to, because it's not even about the arrival or the getting to or the going, but you just consistently being curious and discovering for yourself, for not just growth, but just for living, so you truly get the opportunity to live, to have that experience first and foremost. And yeah, I think if there's not some form of, even if to the point where you're no longer maybe discomforted by discomfort or things that cause unease, just continually flowing through what is now, what is next, what was then, and what does flow look like. Because I've also recently really come into sort of not giving so much separation, or not even separation, but invalidating the different versions of myself, like validating that my lower self is just as important and crucial and necessary and needed as my higher self, my middle self, all the different variations of self, that they each serve their purpose and have their own different wisdoms that are necessary for all the different parts of my life. And when each one invokes itself, to give them their space, give them the stage, allow them to be and exist and learn what I need to learn from those resonances, but also being aware of which part and which self that I'm being in that moment, and carrying on as such. And I think that definitely does come with some level of discomfort. But 1, 2, 3. It becomes beautiful over time.
And you also, when it comes to lower, middle, higher self, you kind of understand when you're aware of which self you are. You can kind of understand when you have to kind of step in too, to make sure that.
Yeah, it becomes a beautiful dance.
Become dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful dance. And I wanted to piggyback off of when you said the things we were able to do to change the molasses.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk about, we also didn't just jump on, oh, we feel bad, so we need to change it, or oh, we're in molasses and struggling a little bit, so we need to change it. We did take the time to sit with and be present in that feeling and those feelings that came with that first, before we began the shifting tactics. Because I think that's also important, is we don't often enough sit with and sift through what may be bothering or alarming or causing our molasses moment. Sometimes we become in our culture so much too, like, oh, you don't feel good or you feel bad, you immediately got to do this, you got to shake it off, you got to do that. Like, everybody tells you, you're like, go get in the gym or do some yoga, or start meditating, or go this ice cream is great, eat that, or do this, but essentially practicing avoidance or participating in escapism versus taking a moment to sit with, process, and get to know and understand what this moment of molasses is and what it may be trying to tell you or present to you about what may be going on or is going on internally or even externally in your environment, because sometimes that's what it is your environment. But just, taking the time and taking a little bit of time and space to just sit with that, understand it, and receive whatever you are meant to receive from it first, and then stepping into that role of creator and deciding to, pull your energy strings and your magic together and start shifting and engaging with the energy to change how you're feeling, to shift how you're feeling, but with the power of already having taken the time and the space to engage and process the molasses, to feel. There we go. Thank you.
Understand it.
To feel and understand and honor.
Relate to it.
Yeah, and honor and relate to that molasses, and then being able to assume that position of power and begin the loving and healing and shifting and transmuting of that energy. And I believe yesterday for us was that ultimate end of transmutation after we had already gone through our various other practices and rituals of transmutation and just kind of raising and shifting our vibrations, which we'll share more of at a later time, kind of how we get into doing that for ourselves. But I think yesterday was truly the walking through of that and truly being able to greet ourselves again in that almost surreal feeling, energy of ultimate presence and bliss, and like you said, the nirvana of creative bliss. And
it's a reminder of the value of stillness too. The fact that we didn't just jump into action trying to change the state or the molasses pending or oncoming or molasses that we may have already been in, in hindsight. No, I don't think we actually ever got in, but just the value of the fact that we acknowledged it, we openly spoke about it, we sat for a minute and just kind of vibed in that space for a minute without succumbing to it. But we sat still in it first before we talked about, okay, well, all right, now this is what we're going to do. So yeah, stillness, again, is just, it's been a recurring theme for me, is sit still, and it's for shorter periods now. More backstory for me on stillness and the value of stillness down the line, because that's a long story. But stillness is the theme. But mitigated and moderated stillness. Action is necessary at times.
And the art of moving into stillness and through it, moving into it, moving through it. Because stillness, that's a whole nother. Stillness is a concept too. Like that's
a whole conversation.
Yeah.
It's a whole conversation in itself. And I guess for anybody listening, if you've got comments, thoughts on the concept and the idea of stillness, it might be nice to hear those before we talk about them one day in an organized or in not organized, but in a proper
forum. There we go. But I think we're winding down off of this one.
Definitely.
This is super exciting. This has been our first episode of Bed Piece, sharing with you the pieces of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, ourselves from the peaceful place of our bed.
Wow.
And he's so special.
French.
But we're not doing that. But it is now 1:29 and a.m. And I am Yolanda Marie, or Yanni for short. And
I am Shaw, who was just woken up for this episode. Hold on. We're not going to just slide up out of this and not talk about that.
No, you were not woken up for this episode.
Yo, I was in a dead
asked
sleep.
if he's telling tales
son.
now.
Just kidding.
Wow. All right, guys. I quit. First episode.
Y'all, good night.
Anyway, so yes, this is episode 1 of Bed Peace. Stay tuned for more soon come. We're excited for this journey. This is a new experience, and we're excited to bring you all along on these thoughts, theories, conversations, and self-discovery moments that we will be diving into. And yes, as he said, if you have any thoughts, feelings, resonances with what we talked about, or ideas, thoughts, feelings, comments on the concept, the idea of stillness, please leave them with us. You can find us on our socials. You can find me at... It's too early in the morning, so it'll all be in the description. But
we're gonna make an account just for this.
Yeah.
And then you can find our personals or whatever accounts.
Right, through that. So yes, our account pretty much everywhere will be Bed Peace, spelled BEDPEACE PIECE. So that will be our @ everywhere. And yeah, we will catch you in the next one.
It's been real.
Peace.
Peace.